First, hold on.
How many times you watched this video?
Like, this will be my 9th time right now.
Some of the best musicians in the industry are rappers. They are poets and writers and multi-talented. There are some icons that have been around for years, and then there are new talents that are just starting out. One of these newer names is Joyner Lucas. He has only been getting mainstream attention for a short time, but has been doing music for a really long time. And his artistry and music has already earned him 2 Grammy nominations and a lot of acclaim. So who is he? Where does he come from? This is Joyner Lucas before fame. Please support us by liking the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you can see all our awesome videos. Where was Joyner Lucas born? He was born as Gary Maurice Lewis Jr. on the 17th of August, 1988 in Worcester, Massachusetts. His father was black and his mom was white. He has been pretty private about his childhood, and we don't know all that much about it, but we have heard that his parents divorced when he was very young, and then his mom remarried. His stepdad was a big part of his childhood and had a huge role in his upbringing. He has 2 siblings and went to South High Community School. That was in the town he was born and grew up in. That is pretty much all the information we have about his family and his family life when he was growing up. Maybe he will eventually share more as time goes on, but for now, he is keeping things pretty private. He has produced music under a few names. He started making music from a very young age. He was just 7 when he started with rhymes and only 10 years old when he started rapping. That is just a little boy. I think that is very cool. But he didn't want to make music under his own name. When he was a kid, he went with stage name G Storm. His uncle, Cyrus the Great, was a big part of his musical journey. He supported Joyner Lucas when he was a kid starting out, and later they even formed a group together. The Film School Rejects, as the group was called, released a mixtape that did pretty well, but Joyner was really dreaming of a solo career. By then, he had changed his stage name to Future Joyner and had released a solo mixtape under that name. Then there came a new rapper out of Atlanta that was making quite a name for himself. He was called Future, and he was becoming more and more popular and rising in fame pretty quickly. Joyner wanted to be unique and didn't want to be confused with any other rapper, so he dropped the Future part of his name and just went by Joyner Lucas. This is how he came to the stage name that he is currently using and that has become a household name for rap lovers everywhere. He has a son. Like I said, he has been very private about his private life, but he has spoken about his son he adores. Or should I really say that he has rapped about him? His name is Joyner Messiah Lucas, and he was born on the 20th of February 2016. Joyner had an on and off romance with the boy's mother. That is one of the reasons that he decides to talk about it in his songs, to work through the emotions that he had after their relationship ended. The song Forever talks about his son's conception. The boy has had cameos in his dad's music videos. It is obvious that Joyner Lucas adores his son and that he loves him very much. It seems like he is definitely the most important person in his life. His first song that got critical acclaim was Ross Cappiccioni. This was a song about a 17-year-old guy who was shot and left for dead, and most surprisingly, it is based on a true story. In 2007, Ross drove an old friend to a pretty bad part of Detroit so that he could visit his cousin. They had been friends for 10 years, so when his friend asked him repeatedly for a lift, he eventually caved in after a week and agreed. All the alarm bells were going off, but Ross went through with it, a decision that he would luckily live to regret. Just after they had gotten out of the car at the cousin's address, his friend pulled a gun on Ross and pulled the trigger. He had a shot to the skull, chest, and arm, and his so-called friend stole his car and left him to die. He managed to drag himself around 7 feet and then he passed out. Luckily for him, a probation officer saw him and he was rushed to the hospital, but there he was pronounced dead. They managed to save him and he woke up 3 days later. The would-be murderer chose Ross as a target when he had to prove himself in a gang initiation. Ross Cappiccioni was very lucky he failed and was then arrested. And we are lucky that Joyner Lucas decided to write a great song with his story. In his songs, he talks about being better than other rappers, but in real life, he seems to be much more humble than his song suggests. He has said that he doesn't think he is the greatest rapper of all time. There are others that are way better than him, he thinks. But he just wants to do what he loves and get his music out there. If he stays humble, I'm sure it will make him a lot of friends in the rapping community and will help him get far in his career. One of the key influences he has in his career is Eminem. Many people have compared Joyner Lucas to Eminem and have pointed out the similarities between the sounds that each one has. And this is no coincidence. Eminem has been someone that has inspired the young rapper for a very long time. He has expressed that he thinks that Eminem is one of the best rappers of all time. His storytelling and lyrical abilities are both things that Joyner would love to live up to. So, listening to him growing up and loving his music had obviously had a major effect on the sound that Joyner Lucas had ended up with. I am also sure that it was an amazing feeling when Eminem called Joyner one of the greatest rappers of all time. Your hero calling you great? How much better can it get than that? Well, it might have been even better when you can collaborate with them. The two artists collaborated on a song together, What If I Was Gay? I'm sure it was a dream come true for Lucas to be working with his own personal idol and such a major legend of rap. But the song wasn't received in the best way. There was a lot of ridicule over it, and it was definitely not the hit that they might have hoped for. Other artists that have had a great influence on his music are Jay-Z and Will Smith. He even made a song about Will Smith's life that got attention from Will himself. Listeners loved the remix where Smith joins Lucas in singing the song. It was a definite highlight in his career. His career has not been very long, but there have been a number of controversies in it. One of them was when he was criticized for working with Chris Brown. Chris Brown has had a lot of coverage about everything that happened in his life, but when people were pointing them out, Joyner defended him, saying he was a great artist and dancer. Then after the documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, came out, he sent a tweet that some interpreted as support for R. Kelly, and understandably this upset a lot of people. He later had to delete the tweet because there were so many people that were angry about it. His explanation was that he just didn't want R. Kelly to hurt himself, and that was all that he meant by it. But when people found out that he hadn't even watched the documentary, they were even less impressed. He seems to often land in hot water over the comments that he makes. So, I'm not sure if these are on purpose to get people talking, or if it is really only that he sometimes speaks before he thinks or does research. We will have to see if this trait helps or harms his career in the future. He got his first major record deal in only 2017. Even though he had been making music long before then, he was never signed to a major record company before 2017, when he got a deal with Atlantic Records. Before that, he had been working with independent companies. After signing that contract, he created some of his most talked about records. One called I'm Not Racist had many people divided. Some felt it brilliant, while others went as far as to call it corny. However you felt about it, what couldn't be denied was that people now really knew his name, and he was starting to get some real fame. In December 2019, just 2 years into his contract, he cut ties with Atlantic Records and went back to being independent. He has said that he still has a lot of love for the company still, so it is unclear what really caused the split to happen. This doesn't mean he stopped making music. He has created more albums since and worked with legends like Ashanti. Their chemistry in the music video that they made was so great that it has even sparked rumors of a romance between the two. His album ADHD has revealed that the rapper was diagnosed with this condition when he was young and that it made him feel different than others because of it. As he becomes more famous, we get to know more about the life Joyner Lucas has had before all the fame. Little by little, he allows us to see inside his private life. His fame is climbing, and so is his fortune. But hopefully, he will always remember how life was before he was rich and famous. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.